Hello everyone, welcome. Happy to see you for night 3. Now you don't have to do it, but as I asked the other day, if you can turn on your cameras, it greatly helps. There's a big old TV back here and I can see you all, and it's really nice seeing your faces, and makes it feel more like I'm talking to real people. And it's cool because I've met a bunch of you. There's a lot of faces here I know. I've seen you and met you in real life and had that privilege. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it because, again, I have a lot to get to tonight. One of the things we'll be doing different is tonight we're going to have this. We're going to be doing some writing. Hold on, I got my cameraman there. He didn't know I was coming over here quite so soon. But we're going to be doing more of this tonight. So get your journals ready. There's going to be quite a bit to write. We've been building towards the list, the plan, the strategy. What do you do? We've been building towards this the entire last couple days. But first, let's recap the last 2 days. Let's recap those. First, responsibility. This equals empowerment, not blame, right? Taking responsibility is empowering yourself. We know that it is best to focus on our own part, focus on what we can control, and just ignore the rest. Don't worry about it. And remember, it is up to me to clean up my messes. It's up to you to clean up yours. And victim mentality keeps us stuck. It can be very alluring to fall into it. And if you get in there, you can find yourself stuck. You could even be there and not even know you're there. And also that fault finding does not equal empowerment. Even though we might think it is empowering to go out looking for fault and blame, it is not. Now, last night we read from the book Psycho-Cybernetics, and we referenced a certain quote in the book that we really tried to unpack, which is, "The choice is yours." The choice is yours. And we talked about the choice being you could choose to go down the old patterns, or you could do the new patterns. The choice is yours, which way you take. And we also explained that even though, it's your choice, they're not equal choices. One side has a lot more information known to you than the other side. And that other side has a tendency to induce fear in us, causing us to take the path well traveled. It's not a bug, by the way, that's a feature. The brain is supposed to work with that way. It wants you to do habits. Now, we mentioned a no-duh thing, which is hindsight is 20/20. We all knew that already. But we talked about how we utilize our hindsight in less than constructive ways. How we sometimes use our hindsight to analyze the decisions of a ghost. Someone that's not even here anymore. Getting stuck in there at the expense of where we are now or what's coming. Now, we covered that this choice to take the old path or the new path, it's hard, especially at first. It's incredibly difficult to do at first. And there's a famous quote that goes along with this from C.S. Lewis that goes, "A familiar captivity is frequently more desirable than an unfamiliar freedom." Now, the choice is yours, but of course that led to the logical question of what is the choice? What is the choice I am making? How can we simplify it as much as we can? And the choice is, do I or do I not go into the unknown? That's ultimately the choice we're looking for. Do I go into the unknown or do I go down the familiar path? And we shown how this is a well-known concept by using a very well-known poem from Robert Frost. "Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." All right, so that's just a quick high-level flyby of everything we did the last 2 days. We've covered a lot of information, haven't we? Now, hopefully you just take away a few good things that you can go out and apply to your life. This is going to be made available for replay. Those of you that are in the guild, you'll have long-term access replay. You can go back through this if you need to, but I also want to urge you to continue your mindset journey, to continue your weight transformation journey, to see where it goes, see where it takes you. Now, this leads to a question, though, where we're at. Everything led to the logical next question as far as I could see it, which is, how do I get myself to take the new pathway, the path less traveled by? Out of curiosity, hey David, bring up the chat. Those of you that did the homework from last night, you went and did something new, something you hadn't done before. Did you feel any internal resistance when you did that? If so, give me a 1 in the chat. Did you feel something where your brain's like, nope, want to do it the old way? Okay, so you felt it. You felt that internal emotional experience of like, oh, I don't want to do this. And maybe some of you felt it and it's like it was on something really simple, right? Something that really didn't make a difference, like maybe picking a route to work and they're the exact same length of time. It's not going to get you there any slower, but it's not my favorite way. This resistance is real. You're going to feel it whenever you start to do new things. But how do I get myself to take the new path? What do I need to do? We've talked about this conceptually. I want to give you some doings, some things that you could implement into your life. So the first step is you must have the right belief. The right belief. And there are 4 beliefs you need to have. 4. So the first belief that you need to have is that it's up to me. The belief that it's up to me. You see, if you still keep thinking that it's somebody else's responsibility to solve your body's problems, you're kidding yourself. It's not going to work. Now, it's funny, I didn't think it was up to me, but if you were to ask me who I thought it was up to, I would have said me. But I certainly wasn't acting like it was up to me. Except for when I was going on a diet or something, but I would go years and not act like it was up to me at all. I was waiting for somebody to tell me how to do it. I see some people right here in the chat are putting, be your own hero. Yeah, be the hero of your story. So I mentioned that I'm a fan of Frozen 2, and I got Elsa here. And Frozen 2 had come out not too long before my journey, and as a musical nerd, and I loved the music from it, but I didn't understand what it meant. I didn't get it. But then I went on my journey. It was after my dad had passed away, who was my advisor through pretty much everything in life, and I did feel the lonely feelings that came with that. And there at the end of the movie, Elsa, the main character, I'm about to spoil the movie, sorry y'all, but she's in this area. I'm going to leave a few things blank so you can go on the journey if you haven't seen it, but she's in this area and she discovers in there that the person she's been waiting for, the person she's been searching for that's going to save her and give her all the answers she needs is herself. That was the message that she took away, which I think is a great lesson, by the way, from a mental health standpoint. Disney really knocked it out of the park with Frozen 2 from a mental health message. But essentially, that's what it was. She was the one she was waiting for all of her life to provide her for what she needed. You are the one you have been waiting for. The cavalry's not coming because it's already here. It's you. Everybody else is just going to help you do it. You can go get a therapist to help you fix any sort of mental challenges that you're having in your life. But guess who's going to do the work? You. Like, you're the one that's going to do it. The therapist is basically standing over your shoulder going, well, why don't we try this? Why don't we try that? If you come work with me to help you on a weight loss standpoint, I'm just going to help you do the work. I can't do it for you. You can't outsource your exercise. You got to do the eating. You got to tell yourself no to food when you're by yourself. You're the one that has to go within and go, am I hungry? And feel the feelings to learn how to tell if you're hungry or not. It's up to you to get all that done. Now, the next belief is, I can change my actions. I can change my actions. You got to believe that you can change your actions. If you don't believe it is possible to change what you do, you won't go do the little things that'll actually result in you doing different things. You won't change it up. You'll keep doing the same old patterns. And you'll keep saying, well, I can't really change, because it's a core belief that you hold. You have to change it at the core level that you can change. And maybe you might have to start with some softball changes. Let me tell you about an interesting change that happened to me. So right now I have 10 clipped fingernails of equal length. There was a time in my life where that had never happened. And from the time I was, until I was about 35, that had never happened. Or was I 36? Somewhere right around in there. I've always, as far back as I can remember, been a nail biter. Right? Any nail biters here in the room? And I'd done everything. I tried everything to quit. I'd done the nasty fingernail polish that tastes terrible. And then I discovered if you just take your tongue and keep it in the back of your mouth, you can still get it. Or if you just do it real faster, I just got used to it. I mean, that didn't work. Then I tried to having people, like if they caught me, just pull my hand out of my mouth or say, hey, stop doing it. They would just do something. So all that did is made me shame nail bite. Don't look at me. Or the other problem is like I wasn't paying attention. I'm just doing my thing, and next thing you know, I'm just chewing on my nail, not even noticing I'm doing it. And what would happen is I would catch myself, and I'd be like, don't bite your nails, don't bite your nails, don't bite your nails. All my brain, of course, is hearing is bite your nails, bite your nails, bite your nails. You're a nail biter, don't you know? You're going to want to bite your nails. And that's how it turned into. I had pretty much given up that I could ever stop biting my nails. I tried all the tricks, except one, which was just to start taking care of my nails. Somebody had said, why don't you go get a manicure? And I was like, I'm a dude. Dudes don't get manicures. And so I'm like, I'm not going to get a manicure. Till finally, one day I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. A friend of mine, she said, I'll go with you. You don't have to get the polish or anything. I was like, really? She goes, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I did it, and I came out. Most of them had been mangled, but a couple of them I managed to let grow long, and they look nice. But even still, the cuticles were cleaned out. There was no dirt under them. And I remember thinking like, oh, those look kind of nice. That was nice. And you know what? I just went right back to biting my nails. I didn't actually change. But I had a moment of like, that was nice. But that got me thinking. I did enjoy that. I didn't want to bite them right away. And then at some point in life, I don't know how this happened. I don't even remember exactly when it happened. I just have a memory of it happening. I was in the living room in my spot, in my chair where I watch TV, my favorite after work sitting spot. So I was in my after work sitting spot, and for whatever reason, there was a pair of fingernail clippers there. There's never been a pair of fingernail clippers there before. They certainly aren't mine, because I've never bought any fingernail clippers, because why would I? I'm a nail biter. Don't need to buy them. But there's a pair right there. Normally, this is my prime nail biting spot, watching TV, bite my nails. So I pick up the clippers, and I think, well, let me just clip my nails. Let me see if one or two of them, not many needed to be clipped, but I remember thinking like, that was nice. I clipped them short, and I noticed I didn't really want to bite them. No, well, that's interesting. I don't really want to bite my nails. I normally want to bite my nails. So that got me thinking, well, maybe I just need to clip my nails. Let me just try that. So I go into the store to buy fingernail clippers, and I walk into Walgreens and I go, I don't know where you sell fingernail clippers. I've never bought them before. I have no idea where fingernail clippers are sold. No joke, I had to go ask someone where they were, because I'd never needed them. Why would I? I'm a nail biter. Nail biters don't buy fingernail clippers. So the person shows me where they are. I get them. I come home. And of course I come home. What do you do with these? I've never owned fingernail clippers before. I don't know. Where do people keep them? I have no idea. So you know what I thought? This seems like a bathroom thing. So I take it into the bathroom, open up the mirror, and I put it in there, and I close it. And I never used them again. I mean, I did eventually use it, but I just forgot they were there. Out of sight, out of mind. I'm ADHD. If I can't see it, it doesn't exist. There's a reason in my office I have no doors or drawers. Everything can be seen. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. And so the fingernail clippers didn't exist. But then for whatever reason, I ended up with them again, and I had the experience of clipping them, and I noticed I didn't want to bite them, and I thought, how interesting. Let's pull them out of here, and let's leave them in my spot downstairs. And I had a pair there. And you know what happened? I stopped biting my nails. They're on that my favorite after work sitting spot on the couch. I stopped biting my nails. But I was biting them everywhere else. I mean, like I wasn't fixed. So I thought, all right, I need to do something about it. So I went and bought another pair, and I put them in my office. And I set them front and center right below the monitor. So I was looking right at them. And anytime I felt myself wanting to bite my nails, I said, just clip them first. I never said, don't bite your nails. I just said, clip them first. So I'd pick them up, I'd clip them, I'd clean them up. And I'd feel good. I'd gather up the clippings and I'd drop them in the trash can. It was this little ritual that I did to try to catch every little clipping. And because I'm in commercial cleaning, I'm thinking about the folks who have to clean these up. So anyway, and then I notice I'm biting them in my car. So I buy another pair of clippers and I leave them in my car. Then I notice that I'm out taking photographs, out on a walkabout, I'm biting them out there. So I take another pair and I put them in there. Next thing you know, I got fingernail clippers everywhere. I mean, I got them everywhere, but you know what's happening? I'm not biting my nails. This wasn't the intention. I just noticed if I had fingernail clippers and I used them, I didn't bite my nails. That's all I noticed. I never said, I still have never said, you cannot bite your nails, self. I've just said clip them. Because what started happening is like, ooh, I really like how this feels. I like how they look. And then I remember it for the first time in my life. By the way, this whole story, we're covering well over a year. Right? This is not fast. But one day I'm sitting there and I looked down and I noticed all 10 nails were the same length. And they were clipped, because I could tell a clipped one versus a one. That had never happened as far as I was concerned. And I thought, how interesting. I promptly bit one later and then I broke the streak. But then it happened again. And then it happened again. And then it happened again. And then one day I was at a client's meeting and I looked down, I'm like, whoo, those nails are getting long. I need to clip those or I'm going to bite them. I better clip them because I noticed if they get too long or too much of a corner, I just go to town on it. So I was like, whoo, I gotta clip them. When I get back to my car, when I'm done with this client meeting. Well, I got to doing things I forgot, didn't think anything of it. I'm out the next day and I'm like, oh, I forgot to clip them. I better clip them or I'm going to bite them. I better do it when I get back to the car. And then I forgot, went about my day. And the next day I was like, whoo, I haven't bit my nails. Why haven't I bit my nails? I normally bite my nails. Why haven't I bit my nails? Without even realizing it, I had stopped biting my nails. I didn't want to. The desire to clip them was greater than the desire to bite them. I liked that feeling more. What a powerful lesson to learn while I was on my weight loss journey. But what I liked about that is it taught me something powerful, that I could change something that I deemed unchangeable once I found the way to do it. I had never tried that technique before, and it worked the first time. It took a year and a half. That was the other element I didn't use. Time. I bit my nails so many damn times over a year and a half. But the goal wasn't to stop biting my nails. The goal was to clip them. That was the goal. Clip them. And lo and behold, my behavior changed. I still to this day, I don't bite my nails, hardly ever. So I want you to know you can change your actions. You can change how you do things. And you must believe that it is possible for you to change your actions. The next thing you've got to believe is it is possible to change your circumstances. You must believe that it is possible to change your circumstances in life. Let's be real. Your circumstances, your situations, aspects of life, they do affect you. I use the example I did earlier, which is the pandemic. My weight loss journey occurred in 2020. I'd already been on it. My circumstances impacted me, but I could still change and work with what I had. I could still change and work with what I had. And I had to. I had no choice but to do that. And it's going to require some resourcefulness. It's going to require some ingenuity to do this. You're going to have to be willing to think outside the box. And the other part is, you can't have any sacred cows. Oh, Chris, I have to have dinner with my family every night. Yeah, but that's the thing that's messing you up. You're constantly complaining that you can't make your food work because you got to eat the same thing as your family and you all got to sit down at 6 o'clock. What's actually important here? Sitting down together at 6 o'clock and eating, or eating the same thing at 6 o'clock? What's actually important? Maybe you need to change some circumstances by willing to look at it and go, maybe I could do this different. Oh, I have to have this meal. Oh, when my mother does this, I have to react this way. You got to be willing to go, but do I? Could I change it? The reason why I have no time to get any movement in my life is because I'm overcommitted. Well, maybe the circumstances I need to change is I need to start saying no to more people. I need to start creating some space in my life, change the situation around me, change my schedule. You can't have any sacred cows if you want to transform. Because for all you know, that one thing you're unwilling to touch, for all you know, that's the thing keeping you stuck. I'm not saying you got to jump to the sacred cows. I'm just saying once you've exhausted all other efforts, it's time to start looking at the real stuff. It's time to start looking at the stuff that's going to be hard to change. And understand, some of your sacred cows are going to be your own thoughts, your own ways of thinking, your own favorite patterns, your old scripts you like to fire off. I know exactly what that person means. Some people, you are so mean to yourself. You're self-deprecating speech all over the place. And you're going to have to give that up because some of you, that's your favorite vice. It's your favorite thing. Get me before they get me. And you're going to have to work on that. That could be your sacred cow that you won't change. Tell me how I can lose weight without changing my speech. You're going to have to change your speech. There's no getting around it. But the last and most important one that you've got to believe is I can change. You have to believe you can change. And this is easy to believe because you've already done it many, many, many times. Many times. Let me ask you, I'm assuming everybody in here is over the age of 18. Are you a different person than you were when you were 18? If so, give me a 2 in the chat. If you're a different person than you were when you were 18, give me a 2 in the chat. Oh, you've already done this. Give me a 3 in the chat if you're a different person than you were a year ago. And there's the 3s. We're always changing and becoming a new, different version of us. The question is it happening by accident or is it happening on purpose? Change is inevitable, but personal growth, you got to choose to do that one. That has to have intentionality behind it. That has to have a plan. If you're just leaving it up to luck, that's not personal growth. That's just chance. So to get yourself to take the new pathways, you must have the right belief about yourself. And one of the things that I realized at the beginning of my journey is I had to set off on a pursuit of something. Something that was very difficult to pursue at first. How am I not special? You see, this question changed my life. How am I not special? You know what I had spent the majority of my life doing? Looking for how I'm special. Trying to figure out how I'm the special one. Now, Hope, I see you asking here in the chat, seems disempowered. But here's why it's not. You see, I thought so too, which is why I never sought to ask this question. I never looked for this question before. You see, I forgot something somewhere along the lines of my life. I'm a human. Average human put other humans on the moon. Average humans climbed Mount Everest. They just did extraordinary things. You see, I kept thinking I was special, therefore I can't fail. But I started noticing, for the first time in my life, I started just looking at all the ultra successful people going, what do they all say that I don't, and why don't I just assume that I'm the wrong one? They all speak highly of failure. Fail early, fail often, fail falling forward. Will Smith said that one. Les Brown, it's not over till I win. Denzel Washington said in a speech, fall down 7 times, get up 8. The list goes on and on. There's all sorts of things where people said, you fail. Failure teaches you things. You should seek failure. All the successful people were telling me this. And you know what that means? If I'm the special one, then I'm not like them. That means what works for them won't work for me. But if I'm just like them, that means failure will work for me too. I used to think, why can't I lose weight? One of the biggest reasons why I would say I can't lose weight is the G word. Never mind the fact that my siblings are thin, but I just looked at my dad and my older brother, said, hey, they're bigger, so I'm bigger. I'm a big guy. I said it's this. In other words, I'm special. My body isn't normal. It's atypical. But what if I'm wrong? You see, I had never tested this. I had never tested it. Not really. And so the easiest way to test it would be to go, let me just do the stuff that everybody does. Let me find what all the successful people are doing and let me just do that and stop assuming. Let's assume that all the problems, there's a solution for it. I can't get myself to do things. Well, let's assume there's a process for getting oneself to do things. Let's assume people aren't just innately motivated and I'm innately not. Let's assume there's a process and a formula. And what I started doing is I started going after this question. I started realizing on my search that pretty much all this I was just like everybody else. I operate like pretty much every other human. But I discovered this little bit here. My special parts. So I discovered my special parts. I actually have things that are uniquely me. I have things that are just mine. My memories, no one has my memories. No one's got my life's experiences. No one's got my unique set of flaws. No one's got my unique set of strengths. No one has my tragedies. No one has my victories, not in the collection that I got them. My siblings, we grew up in the same house, but just being 2 years apart gave us completely different experiences of life. Just 2 years. My sibling here, the thing, I mean, what, we're 5 years apart from each other? We have very different ways of life from David and I. Just a handful of years does that. And that's what gives me my unique parts. And what I could then start doing is go, let me find the general wisdom that works here, and then let me learn how to magnify my strengths, the things that are uniquely mine. Let me learn how to get the most out of those. Look, it's obvious. As my family has told me before, I was born with the gift of gab. I can talk extemporaneous. I can talk off the cuff. I literally have no notes in front of me, right? I have a slideshow. I'm doing this from memory. Like, this is a thing I'm good at. I've also worked really, really hard at it, but I have a natural tendency to do it. Let's take music. I have some talent, but I've worked really, really hard. I went to it for school and I got to sit and sing next to people that had real talent, and I couldn't sing like them. I had to work way harder to achieve just as much, but I loved music, so I was willing to put in the work, right? And again, I magnified some of the strength I had. I mean, I wasn't tone deaf. But when I started looking at weight loss, I started realizing things like, wait a minute. Seco. It's a thing. It works for everybody. It's pretty well established. It works for everybody. There's lots of nuance. We're not getting into that tonight. All right? We're not getting into the nuance, the exceptions where it might appear that it doesn't work, but it still works. There's just sometimes roadblocks. But if you're the special one, then you'll just reject it. You'll say, this doesn't work because I'm special. And when I started saying, how am I alike to everybody else, I started to have real transformation in my life. But now there's something else you got to do. It's not just enough to have these beliefs. You also have to have the right strategy. You've got to have the right strategy, because without the right strategy, you will not be successful. I know, because that's why you've not been successful. Let's all just assume for a moment, the reason why anybody here that has not made it to the other side of the weight loss phase of your journey, let's assume the only reason you're not there yet is because you just don't know how. Let's not assume that it's because you're stupid. Let's not assume it's because you're incapable. Let's not assume that it's too difficult for you. I'm not saying it's not difficult. It is difficult. Ask anybody that's done it. We'll tell you. But it's not too difficult. Let's assume the only reason, it's just like me with the fingernails. I just never tried that strategy before. And one of the elements of my strategy was time. I had never allowed time to be my ally. I had never allowed time to work to my benefit. I used to look at time as my enemy. As my enemy. The thing that's fighting against me. Not realizing that time is my greatest ally. Time made the Grand Canyon. That's a little bit of effort, just a lot of time. It's amazing what you can get done with time. So get your journals out. All right. Let's go over 10. Now understand, we are not going in depth into all 10. This would take many months. I know, because that's what we do in the guild. So I'm giving you a high-level overview of the 10 points. These are the exact same 10 things I use. Okay? These work. You can spend the next 30 years learning to master this stuff. That's what I'm doing. All right? I have a bunch of personal development books here. Okay, and you know what? A lot of what I'm about to show you, I'm not going to just sit here and be like, I found the secret that no one knows. No, it's in the books. I'll give you my reading list if you'd like it. There's a bunch of them. You got to listen to a bunch of things, and you might need to spend some years with some mentors of mine, and you can go find the source of everything. But what I've done is just put it on a nice little list for you, okay? I've taken all the information and I've bundled it up and given it to you because that's what a coach does. I take the information, I distill it down, and I hand it over to you. And so I have been spending a lot of my life trying to learn what's in these. Like, let's take this book, Awaken the Giant Within from Tony Robbins. Have you seen how big this book is? This is a big damn book. What's it, 600 pages? 500, yeah, 500 and some odd pages. This is a big book. You're going to spend a lot of time just trying to know what's in it, much less how to apply it. So make sure you're setting good expectations for yourself and you're setting yourself up for success by not expecting yourself to just suddenly be transformed overnight upon hearing this list. This is a tactical list. This is a strategy, a high-level strategy that you then have to populate with your particulars. So, number 1, get your journal out. You need a clearly defined problem. You need a clearly defined problem. You need to stop and ponder on your problem. You need to stop and think about it. How much time have you just stopped, sat with your own thoughts and contemplated whatever challenge you're facing in life? Without music, without a podcast talking to you, without sitting with another person, just you and yourself and just thinking about it. Maybe use a journal and you write down your stuff there. Right? You got to really stop and think about it. Now, on my journey, I had never stopped to think about it. And we're going to mention a term several times tonight called OSP. OSP. It stands for Only Supportive People. Right? To find the success you're looking for, you're going to need OSPs in your life. You're going to need them. Now, I got lucky and some OSPs wandered into my life right at the beginning of my journey. I am convinced that when you say to yourself, I need one and I'm ready for them, the person will find their way into your life. When you are ready for that person to be there, they will be there because you will go out and find them. Somehow they will be there. You will be placed in the path. I don't know how it works. It's happened every time I've needed one. And so I got lucky or fortunate, or I did the right thing, and I had said I was ready for one, and one wandered into my life. And I started talking about my problem with this person. This person was fit, had always been fit, and I had some questions. I had decided I was done being overweight. I decided I was ready to lose weight. I don't know what to do. We'll get into the decisions I'd made. But I'd pretty much emptied my metaphorical cup of knowledge and said, I don't have a clue what to do. I don't know how to lose this weight. So I was just asking questions of anybody I could. We're going to get to that. But the other thing I was doing is I was talking about my problem. And with this individual, through conversations, I realized I had an overeating problem. It became very obvious that I don't eat when I need to. I mean, I also eat when I need to, but there's lots of times when I don't need to eat and I'm eating. And it's not like I'm having a little bit either. I mean, the phrase, hey Chris, we're all going out to Applebee's to get some apps and drinks. You want to come with us? Well, I'm not hungry, but I could eat. That was my standard response. I'm not hungry, but I could eat. And it's not like I'd go and have a little bit of appetizers. No, I'd probably get my own tray. Or I'd have a lot. I mean, I'd have the equivalent of a full thing of appetizers, which is, P.S., the same amount of calories that's in a whole meal. In fact, it's usually more calories than I eat in a meal now. And that was just for an evening appetizer at the end of the day. But I had no awareness to this. Calories had not entered into my life at this point. I had no concept of it. Through more conversating with this individual, I had a really clear realization that as soon as I said it to this person, I was like, well, this is obvious. I said, I indulge every passing fancy. Whenever I want something, I say yes. The answer is never no. If I want food, I have it. If I want to stay up late playing video games, I do it. If I want to not do yard work, I don't do it. Whatever I want to do, I do. I never tell myself no, and I do not make myself uncomfortable. Saying that to another person for the first time in my life made it very, very real. But you've got to say that to a person that isn't going to judge you, but whose opinion you actually care about. You see, I don't think saying it to a therapist would have been enough for me. I needed to say it to a person who I was like, oh, I feel like this is going to alter how they see me. And tell them my truth. I had to make it real. I had to create a pressure within me to change. Now, when you're clearly defining the problem, you need to make sure it includes problems that are heading your way if you don't make any changes. You need to clearly know what's going to happen. I started to bring a real awareness to myself. I was like, well, all right, if I don't change, what's waiting for me in the future? Definitely diabetes. Do I want diabetes? Well, the answer is no, I don't. Okay, well, if I don't want it, I guess I better do something about it. Right? Because it started dawning on me, someday maybe was just someday never. And I had another realization, by the way, at this point, which is it will always be the me of a present moment that makes the change. It'll always be the me of a present moment that makes the change. Future me can't make any changes because future me doesn't exist. Future me will become present me, and it will feel just like it feels right now. Consider that right now feels just as real as 3 days ago right now did. Feels just the same, and yet, doesn't 3 days ago feel like the past? Right? Today, just think 3 days ago. Several of y'all, I see a lot of faces. You came all 3 days. And here we are, day 3. It feels just like the present. So if you're going to make a change, start working on something, do it now. The next thing you need, part 2 of your strategy. Is a clearly defined objective. You need a clearly defined objective. How many of you have ever set this goal? What's your goal? Lose weight? All right, you lose 2 pounds, you're successful. Well, I didn't mean that. Okay, well, what did you mean? I meant lose a lot of weight. Okay, is 30 pounds a lot of weight? Well, no, I want to lose more than that. Okay, well, say what you mean. I want to lose over 100 pounds. Great. You've done that before. You're successful. No, I'm not successful. Why? You said you wanted to lose 100 pounds. You lost 100 pounds. Why do you not think you're successful? Because I gained it back. Oh. So the goal wasn't lose 100 pounds. The goal was lose 100 pounds and keep it off. That was the goal, right? Yeah. Then why didn't you say that? I don't know, because people just say I want to lose weight. I didn't honestly think about it that much. This is literally the most thought I've ever put into this conversation ever. This is me, by the way, replaying a conversation I had with myself 5 years ago, over 5 years ago. It's just like this. In my own head, having both sides of the conversation. Because you know what? My dad had died. The person I normally would call and have the conversation with didn't exist anymore. And so you know what I had to do now? Talk to myself like a crazy person. I literally would just be in the truck talking out loud like Schmeagol and Gollum, talking both sides of it. And I literally thought of the Schmeagol-Gollum thing. And I'm like, but I'll be damned if it didn't work and change my life and make me a better person in every possible way to do it. So go figure. Being weird paid off. I had to clearly define my desired outcome to myself, which was lose weight and keep it off for just a couple of years. Oh, no, that's not it either. It's lose weight and keep it off till I'm dead. Then I won't care anymore because I'll be dead. I won't need it. The earth can have it back. Lose weight until I'm done, and then keep it off until I'm dead. That's the goal. Bring up the chat. If this is your goal, give me a 1. If this is your goal, give me a 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, you're in the right place. The rest of this is going to help you get there. So, for a clearly defined objective, you need a couple of things. We'll do a different color. Let's do blue. First thing you need is a goal. I know some of you on mobile, this is going to be really small, but right there it says the word goal. I'm going to write it and I'll explain them out. But you need a goal. If I wanted to have a financial goal, I would expect a number. I want to save. Okay, great. How much? More money than I have now. That's not a number. How do we know you're done? We need a finish line. We need to know you're done. I want to save $10,000 for a thing. Okay, we have a number because that's the kind of goal it is. If you have a weight loss goal, or if you're on a weight loss mission, you need a goal. It needs to be a number. It could be a little number. It could just be 1 pound. That's fine. It could be just 1+ pounds. That's my goal. Or it could be I want to lose 100 total pounds over some period of time. That's okay. You can't lose 100 pounds at once, though, just for the record. You can't do that, so don't set that goal. You could lose 100 pounds over a period of time. That's possible, but not just lose 100 pounds. You can't just get up and lose 100 pounds. Can't do that. Can't even just get up and lose 1 pound, by the way. So we have a goal, which is our finish line. It lets us know when we're done. It gives us a destination. The other thing you need to have with your goal is a why. You need goals and you need whys, aka reasons for going for the goal. Why do I want to save $10,000? Because daddy wants a boat. Why do you need to save $40,000? Down payment on a house. Why do I want to lose weight? I want to play with my grandkids on the ground. I want to play with my kids. I'd like to live past 60. I'd like to fall in my old age and not go to the hospital. In fact, nobody cares. You need reasons. You need reasons for doing it. And they can't all be, I don't want to be fat anymore. Those are fine. You need the pain-focused reasons. That's good. But you got to be running to something. You need to be running towards something. Chris doesn't want a boat, by the way. I hear they're expensive to operate. I'd rather just rent them. But you need a goal and you need whys attached to it. And preferably more than one why, not just one. And what this needs to be a vision of a memory not yet lived. Ideally, it gets you emotional if you think about it. And this needs to be written down, or you need to have told someone about it out loud. Remember those OSPs I was talking about earlier? You need to tell your OSPs your goals. You need to tell your OSPs why you're going for your goals. You need to talk about these all the time. As much as you can, you've got to talk about them. You don't have to talk about the whole thing. You can talk about a little bit with this person, a little bit with that person. You can change it up and vary it up if you'd like. But you've got to talk about it often. You've got to make your mind get really comfortable with the idea of your goal actually occurring. The next thing you need, oh, we need the black. A clearly defined direction. A clearly defined direction. So what have we done? We started with the clearly defined problem. Here's where we are. We're here. We now have an objective. I want to go there. And now we know where we are, we know where we want to go, we need to plot a course. I weigh 290 pounds. I would like to weigh less. How much less? Don't know. Doesn't matter if I want to lose 50, 60, 100, just less than I am here. Let's plot a course. We'll plot a course. You've got to have a path. Your goal is your North Star. Your goal tells you where to go, but a goal isn't very motivating. The why is, because the why is where the emotions are. The emotion isn't with the goal. The emotion is with the reasons. And you are only going to go through the trouble of losing weight and keeping it off for emotional reasons. You're going to feel something emotional when you do it along the way. I don't know what you're looking for, but you're going to find it along the way. And your why is going to tell you where to go. And what you are looking for is the next logical step. You're not trying to solve the whole thing at once. You're just looking, I'm right here and I want to go over there. Let me just walk this way. That's what you're looking for. You just need to take the next few steps, then you can take a new reading, get a new heading. Now, you must expect to repeat this often. You need to expect to repeat this many times, because every time you have an obstacle, as you do your best to work your way through the obstacle, once you get to the other side of it, it's time to take stock of the problem, where you are now, clearly assess where you're at, find out where you are, take another goal check, another why check, plot a course, and then keep going. And then you hit the next obstacle, you stumble through it as best you can, then you get out, check your goal, check your why, check where you are, get a heading, and go. And you just do this again and again and again and again. That's why these whys right here have to be very strong emotionally. They need to compel you to do them. They need to draw you to them. It needs to be a pleasure worth the hassle of getting there. Those of you in the chat, if you've lost over 50 pounds, give me a 1 if it was a lot of hassle. If it was a pain to do it, give me a 1. Right? It's a lot of hassle. It's a lot of trouble. You're going to be constantly saying yes when you want to say no. You're going to be constantly saying no when you want to say yes. It just comes with the territory. Obstacles are going to arise. They're going to happen. Now, number 4. Number 4. You need an action plan. You need an action plan. Because action is how shit gets done. Okay? You don't need a knowledge plan. You don't need to go read more books. You don't need to go take another class. Don't get me wrong, you should probably do those too. But you need to be doing that. You need to be taking action. The weight loss isn't going to happen by mistake. It's not going to happen by accident. You're not going to sit still and make it happen. You have to go and do things. You know how you burn calories off your body? You do this. You just move. You use your body. Literally this right here, that burns calories. Does it burn a lot of calories? No, of course not. But it burns more calories than that's not burning any calories hardly. Just sitting still. Anything is better than doing nothing, right? 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Just do anything. I don't care what you do. Just anything. Anything other than sit still for long periods of time. You don't need another 6-week sit-a-thon. You don't need it. Ever again, hardly. Right? You just keep your butt moving. You need an action plan. You know what goes in your action plan? How are you going to move? How about things like steps or activities or workouts? Right? Your action plan doesn't have to include steps, but steps are a nice, easy way to quantify movement if you're not used to doing it. It gives you a metric you can track. Or activities. Maybe you don't want to track steps. I didn't track steps for a lot of my journey. I tracked my activities. Tracked what I did. Workouts, they get lots of movement. This is just on the movement side of the equation. You got to manage your calories, you got to manage your sleep, you got to manage your water, you got to manage your mental health, you got to manage your emotional health, you got to manage so many different things. And it's going to be done through action. And that's what it's going to be done through. Now your action plan, just like with the goal, you need to write it down or tell it to somebody. If it's just in your head, it doesn't count. You need to write it down or tell it to somebody. If I walk up to you and say, what's your action plan? What's your strategy? How are you losing weight? And you say, well, you know, some days I track my calories as best I can. You know, sometimes I go over. And I try to get steps. How many steps are you getting? I'm getting, I think, like 6,000 a day. Right there. That's not, no, you're making that plan up on the spot. You're winging it. You are not going to wing it to success. This is going to take intention. If you could wing it to success, you would have done it by now. Because I believe your success is not due to a lack of effort and not due to a lack of caring. I don't believe you don't care. I believe you just don't know how yet. I believe, just like me with the fingernails, you just haven't found the strategy that will work for you. And to test if you have a strategy, find an OSP and talk about it. Say, hey, how are you losing weight? Can we swap strategies? Can we swap techniques? What are we doing? Just talk about it. Talk about it. It's not that either one of you is right. There's 1,000 different ways to create a calorie deficit. Some people got some really good ideas. Some people's ideas won't work real well for you. As an example, some people, the way they get their calorie deficit is they have a lot of protein-enriched foods and they do low-sugar foods. But often those things that are still sweet are replaced with artificial sweeteners. I've had 3 clients in my career that are allergic to most artificial sweeteners. Oh, well, gee, all of a sudden we got to find an entirely new way to handle this sweet tooth when we can't use artificial sweeteners because they'll get sick. Right? Different experience. So it's not that it's always the same for every single person. Sometimes a person's like, you can lose weight and eat carbs. The person's like, well, I'm celiac. And it's like, that has nothing to do with weight loss. But yes, you're right. You can't have carbs. For you, that is true. Right? So you got to look at yourself, look at your own individual circumstances and situation. Now, the next thing you need, this next one's a non-negotiable, and it is one that so many people forget and don't do. You need progress indicators. 2 kinds. You need 2 kinds at all times. Dose, 1, 2. Objective, quantifiable, right? Number on a scale, tape measure around your waist, belt on your pants. Something you can specifically measure progress. That's your quantifiable, objective kind. But then you need number 2, your subjective kind. How do you feel? What kind of activities can you do? Do they feel easier to do? Like getting on the ground to get something, does that feel easier than you did before? It's hard to quantify that, but you need to call out to yourself progress indicators of the objective and subjective kind. Many people, what they'll do is they'll use just one, the scale. That's the only objective that matters, the scale. They worship at the altar of the Holy Trinity displayed on the scale. It's just a number that tells you how heavy you are. We all know if you take a poop, you'll weigh less. So clearly it doesn't tell you everything you want to know. What is your objective? It's to become thin. It's not to lose weight. It's to become thin. So just say it. What's your goal? I want to be thin. Not I want to lose weight. I want to be thin. Because when we say I want to be thin, which is the truth, not, oh, I'm on a health journey. I know you're on a health journey, but I also know you want to be thin. You want both. It's okay to want both. They're two separate goals. Yes, becoming thin will help you on the health front. But if all you're interested in is being healthy and you're not trying to be thin, I'm here to teach you to do both. So just know I'm going to annoy you because I'm going to keep saying you should be thin because that's why I assume you're here. But you need progress indicators. You need a progress indicator. You need to know, am I becoming thinner? Tape measure, clothing. Maybe don't set a weight loss goal. Maybe set a pant size goal. Or maybe both. But you've got to have these because you have to have some means of knowing if you're on track or off track. You've got to have some means of knowing that. And now on my journey, I decided at the very beginning, month 1, here's my goal, starter goal, day 0 of my journey. Number 1, I want to feel better. I feel like dog shit in my body. I hate it. It's super unpleasant in the body I had. I just want it to be improved. Subjective. Number 2, in a month's time, I wanted my belt to be looser. That's it, looser. I knew exactly which buckle I used, and I wanted it to be less than that. And number 3, I wanted to have lost 1+ pounds in 30 days. Because I, every month, was going up. So just me, instead of going up, 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 well, that'd be a big victory. Because otherwise I was going to have gone up. That's an evidence that I have begun to change the direction again. Those are my starter goals. That's it. For a month. Just for a month. That's it. All right, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to get a little water. We will be back in about, it's going to say 10 minutes. I'm going to update the timer. Let's make it 7 minutes. We'll be back in 7 minutes, and then we're going to pick up, and I'm going to give you the last 5 for what you do here on this. See you soon. All right, welcome back. We're going to pick up right where we left off because we got a lot to cover and I wanted to get through it all. Where'd my paper go? Oh, I set it over here. Started walking around the room. All right, so number 6. Number 6. You need a quality control process. This does not have to be complicated, although I have seen some tremendously complicated setups of doing this. But essentially what you need for your quality control process is you need some means of double checking that you're doing what you say you're doing. It's amazing how easy it is for a human to deceive oneself. It's so easy for us to deceive ourselves, like crazy easy for us to deceive ourselves. And you need a means of making sure you're not doing that. Now, we're not going to do a deep dive into quality control because I got to skip over a few of these in the interest of time. But essentially, there's 2 types of ways you need to do quality control on you. Number 1 is what I call a point of execution. In the moment it's happening. That's you're pulling out your phone and doing a tracker. That's you're tracking an exercise. Right? That's you're looking at your step count, right? You need something that you're checking the moment of what you're doing or a short period of time. And then you need the statistical overview. That's like you might take your calorie data for an entire week, put it into a spreadsheet, and look at it. So as a part of my training programs, we use spreadsheets. If you're using data, we use spreadsheets to analyze how we're doing and to see where we're going. When I do one-on-one work with clients, we use spreadsheets to review data at large. MyFitnessPal, Lose It, all of them, they're fine for point of execution quality control. They're garbage when it comes to looking at it on a bigger picture. And this is normal. Go to most big businesses and you'll find Excel is how they make it work. And if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So you need to have some means of doing it and you need to be checking it regularly. Let's move to number 7. Number 7. You need a troubleshooting philosophy. What? T-R-O... U. There's a U in there somewhere. For those that don't know, I went to school in Arkansas. We didn't learn how to spell real good there. So we need a troubleshooting. I see where it goes though. We need a troubleshooting philosophy. A troubleshooting philosophy. A lot of people, it's amazing, they go through life and when they have a problem, you make it up how you're going to solve it. You don't have a single repetitive framework that you work through. Sometimes I solve a problem this way, sometimes I solve a problem that way, sometimes I don't solve it at all. No wonder your kids sometimes get really annoyed with you because you are inconsistent AF on how you're helping them solve things, right? Yeah. That's how I used to live. It's funny. At work, I had a troubleshooting philosophy that I would bet millions of dollars on. I trusted it so much. And for whatever reason, I didn't bring it home. And at home, I had a completely different sets of solving problems. And by sets of ways of solving problems, it was however I felt like doing it at the time. Usually the easiest way that provided the least amount of trouble for me. That's usually what I was looking for. But I didn't have a troubleshooting philosophy. And you're going to need one too, because if you are going to lose all your weight and keep it off, you are going to encounter problem after problem after problem after problem after problem. And if you think you can just quit just because you have a problem and say, whoopsies, didn't make it because I had a problem, that means you're never going to make it. To make it, it means you become good at overcoming problems. That's the answer. You have a problem and you troubleshoot it and you work your way through it and then it's not a problem anymore. And then you work your way to the next level problem. Don't know how to solve that one. You use your troubleshooting philosophy, figure out how to solve it, and you move on to the next one, the next more difficult problem. Rinse, repeat, over and over and over again. Now for me, I have a couple of frameworks, and I teach about them in the Guild, and again, they're whole long things in and of themselves, but one of them I use is something I call the success loop. And we use a symbol here for the success loop, but essentially it's a repeatable 5-step process that we use for troubleshooting. And you do it over and over and over and over again. And this is something that you need to learn about. You don't have to know this one specifically. I like mine. But you need some means of a repeatable process for troubleshooting unexpected things in your life. Now, I use two things that help me. I have things that are in my mind that are temporary red flags, and I have things that are permanent red flags. So an example of a temporary red flag, that would be tracking my calories for a while. That's something I'm going to do temporarily. Maybe even just for a day, right? Maybe the scale didn't move for 2 weeks, and so it's like, all right, scale didn't move for 2 weeks. Let's track for 2 weeks to get the scale moving, make sure I'm doing what I say I'm gonna do, and then we'll go ahead and stop. We'll go back to just kind of listening to my intuition now that I've gotten it dialed back in again, right? That might happen. I've done that many times myself. But then I had the other ones. These are the permanent red flag checklist. So as an example, the one that I'm still doing to this day is checking my daily step count. I still do it to this day. Now, the next one is huge. And a lot of you already know it, and a lot of you already do it. But you may not be doing it in the most effective way. And that is, you need to get a coach, a mentor. What was the word I used? I wanted to make sure I use the exact word I wrote down. Or a model. I knew that. A coach, a mentor, or a model. You cannot rely on your intuition to be successful. As we have said, if your intuition knew how to lose weight, you would have done it by now. Your intuition doesn't know how to do it. You can't do it. You are going to make the wrong decision because you just don't know any better. There's going to be a lot of times on the beginning of a journey, you're just not going to know any better, and you're going to make a decision that is sabotaging your success, and you don't even know you're doing it, right? It's usually going to be the stuff you don't know that's messing you up, not usually the stuff you know. And one of the best ways to overcome that is to have a coach, to have a mentor, or to have a model. Now, you don't have to have all three at once. You can. But you should have one of them at least, or you should be in between them, like looking for your next one. Whenever you are on a growth journey, whenever you're on a journey of change, you need to find people that already have what you want. Do not take weight loss advice from somebody that hasn't lost any weight. Don't take weight loss advice from somebody who's lost weight and is currently overweight, because they didn't learn how to handle the clearly defined objective, which was lose weight, keep it off till you die. I know you're taking a chance on me. I'm not dead yet. I thank you very much for not making me wait until I'm dead for me to help you with this. But I'm doing pretty good so far, right? You need to have information provided to you from someone that has done it. Doesn't have to be, though, somebody that was big and lost weight. That can help. You know who I learned a lot from? My brother, who's sitting in here right now. David, have you ever been overweight by a whole bunch?
Not a whole bunch, maybe, but the most is probably 40 pounds, and that was my wake-up call.
Yeah, 40 pounds, that was it. All right, that's the most, like, and for me, so he's never had 100 pounds on his frame, right? But I still learned a lot from him. My other siblings I learned a lot from. I have friends that I learned a lot from that were never overweight, because I could just pick their brains and be like, how do you decide when to start eating? I'd never asked another thin person that. How do you decide when to stop eating? When you're stressed, what do you do? I eat. What do you do? I remember one time telling a person that, like, when I'm stressed, I eat, and they're like, I can't possibly imagine eating when I'm stressed. I'm like, what? Really? It's like all I want to do. It's like the thing that I kind of sometimes want to get stressed so I have a reason to eat. Really? You just don't want to eat? That's weird. But what you need to do is take your problems and show it to your model. Be like, here's my problem. Here's my mem. How would you have handled this? And then you just shut up and listen. Because they're going to tell you things that you're going to be like, no, that won't work. No, that can't be the answer. It's got to be some other answer. Again, if you knew how to do this, you'd have done it by now. So I'm not saying the people you're going to talk to are always going to have it right. Look, you got to look for imperfect models, right? No one is perfect. I have my flaws. We all have our flaws, right? Make sure that you're talking to people that have problems. If they say they have no problems, run away. They're lying, right? Find imperfect people to learn from. Now, don't have too many coach, mentor, or model roles at a time. All right? You don't want to have too many at once. You can have a lot over a long period of time, but too many at once can become very confusing. That's why I find, like, if you're going to have a coach, be very careful of your mentors and models. If you're going to have models, you know, you can have a mentor or coach, but you just kind of like pick your one you're going to focus on and jump around. And you need to make sure that they are winners. They need to be winners. All right? Don't attach yourself to a loser. Otherwise, you will be a loser. You need to attach yourself to a winner, and then you'll be a winner. You'll have what they have. So if you wanted to learn a language, go ahead and in the chat, anybody that's learned a language, what's the best way to truly learn it, to learn how to speak it and think in it? There it is, right away. People already got it. Immersion. Immersion. What does that mean? Somebody in the chat tell me, what does it mean, immersion, when learning another language? I'll give a second so people have a moment to type here. Surround yourself with everything about it. Mission to their country for 1.5 to 2 years. Live, breathe it. Live, breathe it every day. Speak to the locals. Practice it all the time. Embrace the culture. See, this is what we're talking about here. Is if you want to truly learn a language, go drop yourself in the country and stay there for a little bit. You'll learn it. That's how you learn another language, truly. You have to just completely immerse yourself in it. And that is strategy number 9. You need immersion in your goal. Right? And you can't get immersion with a coach, mentor, model. Trust me, as a coach, I tried to provide this. I can't. I can't. It doesn't work that way. You need immersion if you want to change how you think, because you will be impacted by the people you spend your time around. You will be impacted by the people you talk to. And if you're around negative people, that is going to affect you. If you're around people that are crabs, you know, the people that want to pull you down and not let you pull yourself back up, that's going to affect you. So there's 5 elements for immersion. 5. Number 1, the first element of immersion. I didn't bold that part. Mainline ideas to the mind. When I say mainline, talking put some headphones in your ears. I'm talking have a Marco Polo thing with someone talking. I'm talking pull out Luke Narwhal on YouTube and start listening to that. Throw on the Chris Terrell podcast. If you're in a guild, the guild, put on a guild meeting. If you're on my YouTube, pull up a YouTube channel. Be pumping content into your brain that's in alignment with your goal. And what you need is mindset first weight loss information. That's what you need. Look, most of you already know how to lose weight. Sure, you can learn some more particulars and mechanics to make it easier and begin to make it efficient. But you need mindset work. Because again, if you knew how to do this, you'd have done it by now. So you need mindset first weight loss content mainlined into your head constantly. Every day. You need to make success common in your mind. You need to be hearing weight loss success stories regularly. Not yours. Other people. People that were once your size. People that were once bigger than you. People that you thought were worse off than you. You need to watch them go on and be successful so they take away your excuses. You need that. You need people that will take away your excuses. And the next part for immersion is surround yourself with people better than you. Surround yourself with people better than you. You know, I love it when I see a weight loss support group and everybody is big. You know how often those work? Very rarely. It's the blind leading the blind. I've been in some of them groups. Have any of y'all been in some of them groups? I know I've been in some of them. I've been in several of those groups, blind leading the blind groups. No, No, you need to immerse yourself in a group that has people at all phases of the journey. You should look at a group and go, there's the beginners, there's the people that are just past the beginner, there are those in the middle, there are those past the middle, there are those near the end, there are those on the side of the maintenance. You should see all stages. If you don't see all stages, what good is the group? You're going to get to a certain point and stop and then have to leave and go find another group. Well, that's going to get lame. You need to completely immerse yourself with people. Look, you could do this in your life. I did it with running. I went and my brothers run. I went and joined a running group here. I started watching running content on YouTube. I made running my whole world. I completely immersed myself in it. I didn't pay a dime. Right? You don't have to pay for this stuff. You certainly can, but you can create a world and then drop yourself into it. Now, my weight loss journey, I had to curate it. I didn't have a lot of people to help me with that. The other part, though, for the immersion is you need role models. Now, I know that one ties with this up here. But your group should give you role models. People that you're like, I want to do things like you. That doesn't mean you literally want to be that person. You two might have very different preferences about life. But one of you might have figured out some shit about losing weight that might help the other. Right? You need role models. You need people ahead of you on your quest. You need people that are ahead of you on your quest because they're going to make success real in your mind. A lot of us give up on weight loss because you're going to do the work with no immediate reward, sometimes for weeks at a time. You need to be regularly talking to people that are on the journey. They're like, yep, been there. Give me a 2 in the chat if you have done the work for weeks at a time and nothing changed on the scale. Give me a 1 in the chat if you've gone through that. Or a 2. Yeah, 2. Sorry, confused. Give me a number. Throw a number out there. As you see, this is normal. You need to be able to talk to people when you're struggling. They're like, yeah, that's normal. It sucks, doesn't it? Right? My stepson, he's getting braces right now. All I can say is like, man, that sucks. I get it. It sucks. There's nothing we can do about it. It's just gonna suck. Right? And so you need to have people that make the suck not seem so bad, because in your head, you're going to make it worse than it is if you're left to your own devices. The next thing for immersion is help someone behind you. Yeah, helping someone behind you makes a big difference. You will learn a ton when you turn around and help someone that's not as good as you are at something. You will learn a ton. In fact, Stephen Covey, author of Habits of Highly Effective People, wrote a whole dang book about the 8th habit, and part of it talks about turning and helping and teaching others. You want to make sure you know about weight loss? Teach it to other people. If you teach it to other people, you will really learn it. But also, I'm a big believer in the law of reciprocity. What you put out is going to come back. So if you're going out there and you're helping other people, when you need help, the help is going to be there for you somehow, right? You got to put yourself in the right place, though, for that to happen. And then number 5, spend time with the OSPs. So this immersive place when it comes to weight loss, because it's usually a personal transformation, you need to surround yourself with these supportive people. You need people that look to you and they believe in you. You are trying to learn a new language. I know it's in the same tongue that you speak now, but you need to learn different things. You need to be able to say, I'm hungry, and it means something different to you than it does now potentially. You need to be able to say, I know when to stop eating. You need to be able to say that and know what it means for you and your body. You're trying to learn an entirely new way of thinking. That's what you're doing. You have to learn to think differently. If you lose your weight and keep the same thinking, you will find yourself back where you began. Albert Einstein said you can't solve your problems with the same thinking you used when you created them. Now, when I was losing weight, it was tremendously lonely. The pandemic made it worse. That was unfortunate. It wasn't supposed to be as lonely as it was for me, but it was indeed very, 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 very lonely. Now, I was very fortunate that I had a few OSPs in my life, and I was very close to them, so I was able to make up for the lack of numbers with the intensity. Now, I had discovered, though, on my journey, that a mindset-first approach to weight loss was tremendously effective. I had never in my life taken a mindset-first approach to weight loss in my life until I did, and then I lost all the weight. And I don't believe that's a coincidence that I did that, because I've seen it happen too many other times. When you do the mindset work, success will eventually find you. I just don't care how long it takes. Like, if one of you comes up to me and I have a little book and it says, you're going to take 4 years to lose all your weight. I don't care. Then it'll take 4 years. You're the one that might have something to say about it. But trust me, however long you think it's going to take to lose all the weight, it's going to probably take longer, and probably by a noticeable amount. So just sort of settle in for the grind there with that. But many people are looking for quick fixes. And so when I was losing weight, when I would go talk to other people, I kept coming across quick fix information, and I'd have to filter it out. It was tremendously difficult to have to filter out the constant toxic diet bull crap that's out there. But that's all I had to work with. And it made it very hard for me to talk to people about how I was losing weight. I struggle with how to explain how I lost weight. I've literally made it my profession to explain how I lose weight, and I discovered it takes a long time to explain it. I can tell you it's eat less, move more, but it's so reductive as to basically be useless. And I started realizing, though, that there were people in my life that had elements of what I needed. They had a meal plan, they had a movement plan, they had an exercise plan. They could give me some tactical things to do. But what I needed was the mental side. And I was having to cobble things together, like, let's take this content for entrepreneurship. How can I repurpose this mindset to work with me for weight loss? Let's take this stuff that's designed for an athlete. How can I repurpose this for me? And I had to just go hunting for new mindset information for other focuses and just repurpose the information internally. It worked. It was just very mentally taxing to do that. Now, on the other side of my journey, I started helping people lose weight. A lot of people were coming to me. I mean, you lose 125 pounds, people start noticing. They start saying, how can I have some of that? And so I started helping people. Well, then I realized I wanted to help people all the time. So I have to do this for a living now. So I started doing that. Well, I started noticing something. I already knew, and if you listen to my podcast, I've been talking about it for years, we're a byproduct of 6 things: our lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and system of belief. I was helping people work on their belief systems as much as I could. I was helping people with their habits, their lifestyles, routines, and their environment as much as I could. But I was always fighting against their community. Or not always, I'm going to rephrase that. In many cases, a person's community was pulling them back. Sometimes their entire social network is overweight people that love to eat. Well, what are you supposed to do then? Right? That's hard. That's tricky. Or maybe it's either people that don't really care, and then you have like the super fit people that you feel kind of uncomfortable being around. And so you need to find places that you can go. And I realized my clients were regularly needing a community. It was constantly coming up. And so what I started realizing is I'm going to be like Thanos and just put on the glove and say, if nobody else is going to do it, I'm just going to do it myself. That's what I'm going to do. And so what I decided to do was to create the guild. Now, you've all heard me talking about it, mentioning it here and there. But I call it the Guild of Champions. And the reason why I call it the Guild of Champions is because still to this day, I have never felt more like a badass than when I was losing my weight. I've been chasing that high ever since. There's just something about it. Remember what I said earlier, you can't outsource anything? This is one of the things I love about weight loss. I've worked with some incredibly successful people. Very successful people, and they struggle with their weight just as much as people that by other traditional measures are very not successful. They struggle just as much because you can't outsource this. You can't throw a whole bunch of money at this. You got to do the work yourself. Now, I want to be clear. The guild is a course, but that's not what it is. The guild courses exist because I got sick of saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, so I just recorded it so that you could listen to it again. And as I find a better way to explain things, I update. But you definitely get a course. But what you really get, the real value, it's the community. A saying was spawned by the guild that I love. I didn't come up with it. Join for the knowledge and stay for the community. And that's how it's supposed to be, though. Because your community has an impact on you. 100% it does. It changes you. And you must be careful who you attach yourself to. You must be careful who you attach yourself to. Now, I want to be clear. Every business manager or coach I've ever had is going to tell me I shouldn't say this, but I don't care if you're not going to join my program. I think my program is amazing and I think you should join it. But if you're not going to join mine, that's fine. Go join another one. Okay? Join something. If you don't want to join a program, find a community in your real life. You are not going to be successful unless you change the people you surround yourself with and change how you talk to people. The people in your life might be fine, but trust me, they're not going to care about your weight loss journey after you've been talking about it for 9 months. And you're 9 months into a 2-year journey. They're not going to want to hear about it anymore. Trust me, I know. Right? Your friends and family are going to get annoyed of hearing about it. So find a community that you can talk about it because you have to talk this stuff out loud. I'm a coach. Having just a coach isn't enough. I can't get you there just by myself. I've tried. I've been trying for years. I can get a few there. And the few I can get there, it's because their community on their end of their life is already in alignment. In many cases, we spend the first year just helping the person change their community. That's what I do if I'm working one-on-one and they're not part of the guild. Now I believe in it so much that if you're not in the guild, I won't work with a person. Because I'm like, I can't ensure you get lasting success unless you've had a couple of years of hearing new ideas. So with the guild, you get courses. When I say courses, I'm talking over 200 hours of mindset first weight loss content. Actually more like 250, but I haven't double checked and verified that, but I'm pretty sure it's over 250 now. We do workshops. We do them throughout the year. I do group coaching virtually every Monday, except for when I have gaps in between programs. We're starting one coming up this Monday that I'll tell you about in a second. And guild members have opportunities to work with me one-on-one, ad hoc as needed. You don't have to sign up long-term. In the guild, though, you're going to get the more important things, which is OSPs. You can find supportive people in your life. We got a lot of guild members here. I see your faces. I see some of you put guildy in front of your name. But I know many of you have your OSPs in here. I've heard you talk about them, the importance of it, of having them. We have an exclusive Facebook group as well as other private communities online. We use an app called Marco Polo. It's hard to explain what it is if you don't know what it is. But it is a truly transformative thing that takes a community and makes it real. And then we have retreats. We meet in the real world. It's not just enough to do this all online. Let's meet for real. So we have a calendar. I wanted you to see this month's calendar. And I want you to see that here, starting Thursday, starting tomorrow, anybody that joins, we are doing Q&A sessions with me just for you, my new people, for the next 4 Thursdays, starting tomorrow. And I mentioned we're doing a group coaching thing. On Mondays is my group coaching track. And if you can't catch these live, everything is made available for replay. We are doing a calorie tracking sprint, which is basically for those individuals that are at a place when you are ready to track calories, come on, let's go. We do these every so often in the guild. This is not a calorie tracking program, the whole guild, right? We just recognize that some people are tracking calories at some time, and we provide services for those that are ready to do it, those that want to take a stab at it. But in the guild, you get all of these services here that we've mentioned, plus more. And normally the guild membership is $100 a month. Now, as I said, I just decided, look, I'm just going to be transparent before all this. I'm going to do a sale here at the guild. I'm going to drop the price. Some people might think, well, okay, he's probably just going to drop, knock 15% off, take it to 85, or might even be like, that's not, he's probably going to take it off, maybe 25% off and make it 75, right? Come on, Keynote, there's the 75. But no, that still wasn't enough. I want people that are ready to change. I want people that are ready to go. You're ready to jumpstart. I got a program ready. We're starting this week. If you're ready to go. And look, and if you're not ready now, you can come in the future. But it's only going to get harder in the future, so I don't know what you're waiting for. You might as well get started now. So for those that register for this event, and for the next 48 hours, Guild membership's available at $50 a month, taking 50% off the monthly price. With this, you're going to get all the courses. You're going to get access to the community. You're going to get access to coaching with me. You're going to get access to all coaching. Now, I know some of you in here, you're my Guild members. We're just going to address this. A few people in here, Guild members, like, well, Chris, now I signed up at a different rate sometime in the past. So for those of you that are current Guild members, if you would like to refinance, quote unquote, your membership to a lower rate, just like you would a home interest loan, email Candace, support@christorocoaching.com, and we'll get you squared away. If you click the link for the new member, trust me, you don't want to do that. And so a whole bunch of stuff's going to reset in your library. You don't want to do that. Just email Candace and we'll get you squared away and get you taken care of. So Candace is going to drop a link to this in the chat right now, as well as if you want to go ahead and take a screenshot of this, that QR code in the bottom right, hopefully it's clear enough, will work. And we're going to email out this link to everyone. We're going to email the link out. So if you can't get it right here, it's coming. You have 48 hours to do it because a lot of people are watching this on replay. We have quite a few people in Europe and in Australia joining, and I want to make sure every single one of them has a chance to get the deal. So we're doing it for 48 hours to get it at the $50 rate. After that, the price goes back up. All right, let's wrap up to where we're at, because it said the community is important, but it is only one piece of the overall strategy. We've done number 9. Now we have to do number 10. The last one. We're going to end for the night. There we go. That thing was not wanting to cooperate at all. Actually, hold on. In preparing for today, I had a conversation with my mom. She called me this morning out of the blue. And she was saying, hey, I saw your thing you're doing. This right here. So we were talking. And she said something that was so profound. Like I literally sat up in my chair and I was like, can you say that again? And I pulled out my phone because I'm like, I'm writing this down. She says it's better to have nobody around than to be with negative people. Choose being alone over being with negative people. She then said, it's better to have someone positive than nobody, and you need friends, but if you have bad friends, just go be alone. And we were talking about it in the context, because both of us, after my dad died, many of us in our family, we found ourselves in a period of aloneness. My mother found herself tremendously alone. I found myself tremendously alone. Dang pandemic. But it's true. If you have negative people in your life, get rid of them. Or change the dynamic of the relationship. It actually is better to be alone than to be with toxic people. I know because I've done that firsthand. I've done the be with toxic people thing, and I've done the be alone thing. The be alone thing left me actually better off in the long term, even though it was painful and lonely at times. It left me better off. Being with the wrong person put me in pain a lot of the times, and it left me worse off. But the last thing, you need a new lifestyle. I know I wrote that in a way that's going to give some people a conniption. You need a new lifestyle, new habits, new routines, new hobbies. You need to spend your time on different activities. There are things that you do, you need to stop doing them. I had to learn how to willfully choose to let go of video games. I had to do the work to find myself at a place where I willingly let them go. It took well over a year, right? I had to adopt movement into my life. I had to add it into my life. And I've had to get creative. I'm still getting creative. I now ride a bike. I gave my stepson my car and I just use a bike full time. Why? Because I was like, I can get movement in my life. My office is 2.5 miles from my home. It's not that far. And I thought, and it adds movement into my life, and I like it. It's fun. That's an example of a change. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm not saying you do. P.S. though, if you can, it's incredible and it's awesome. I got an e-bike, it's fantastic. But you need a new way of living. You need a new way of living. So my brother's here in the studio. It's really cool. I've gotten to interact with him in entirely different ways than I ever have in the past. I got to go on runs with him through the woods. We did an ultra marathon together. He finished it. I didn't. But this is a lifestyle difference, right? So David, as an outsider, and I'm putting him on the spot because I didn't want to prompt him for this. As the outsider to me, though, does it seem that I have a different lifestyle than before 5 years ago?
Yeah, you are a different human. It's weird seeing old pictures of you because that was a different person. And the things that we do now together are different. I mean, you're a whole completely different person. The things you would do, the thought of you riding a bike to work because you liked it wasn't a possibility in the past. The thought of you liking exercise, anything, yeah, it's completely different. Switch.
And everybody, this is how people need to talk about you. In 5 years' time, people need to say, you're a different person. You've changed. Good, that was kind of the point. Happy you noticed. Thank you for the feedback. Oh, you don't like it? Well, screw you. You can pound sand. Don't care. But these are the 10 steps. Let's recount the 10 steps. Number 1, you need to clearly define the problem. Number 2, you need a clearly defined objective. Then you need to set a direction. Then you need a clearly definable action plan. You need a plan that is clearly definable. And you need multiple progress indicators. Remember, objective and subjective. You need both kinds. It's not enough to just have one, and preferably multiples of each. You also need to have a quality control process. It can change and evolve over time. In fact, most of these things are going to change and evolve over time. As I said, this is a step. This is a framework. It's an order of operations. You need a troubleshooting philosophy. You need some means of performing a root cause analysis that you can repeat. I told you I use one that I call the success loop, but you need to have something that you use yourself. There's books you can get. I've got 2 or 3 books up here that are all about root cause analysis in a business setting. P.S. Business root cause analysis, business principles are directly transferable to your personal life. You also need a coach, a mentor, or a model in your life. And you need to immerse yourself in a community that is in alignment with where you want to go, the kind of person you want to be. If you look in your life, you will see you have always immersed yourself in a community full of people that you want to be like. You will see that you have done that your entire life. And you need a new lifestyle. You need an entirely new lifestyle. Now, what I thought would be interesting to do for those that want to do it right now, I'm going to take you on a little tour of the guild. So David, if you could, can you, my man, already on it. So when you log in, I just want you to see it. I want to let you just see behind the wall what you get. So here is all the courses that are available in the guild. We do one, for an example, called Hot Seat Coaching. You can see this right here. This is every Tuesday. It's Hot Seat Coaching. You can just show up, you can ask a question. And what's cool about it is, we then take all those questions and we edit them up into categories. And let's say you're looking for questions about motivation. How can I strengthen my morning routine and stay motivated? How can I stay active when I'm exhausted and unmotivated? Well, let's just click that one. Maybe that's something you struggled with. You can find another guild member who's asked that question. We'll skip ahead just so you can see a moment of it.
Then we have our evening together time.
So you see the person there, they're talking, real question. It's just like we're on Zoom. I am here in the studio and I'll be talking there. And the nice thing is we have everything is searchable because I want you to be able to get to the information precisely when you need it. So let's go back to the library here. Person like you want the replay center. Hey, you can't make it to everything live? No problem. We do move the times around some, and we're adding other features to make it easier, but only evaluate me on what we got now. But we have here, if I can see, come on, go to categories. On Wednesdays, we do lectures. This is where it's all education, all mindset first weight loss content. Let's say you're like, ooh, I fell off the wagon. Let's watch the lesson on that. You can come and tap that. And again, if you've enjoyed this tonight,
now what phase?
it's a lot of things just like this, but all focus on getting you what you want. You can search. So say I'm looking for topics on hunger. Up here at the top, I'm typing in hunger. And this will bring up any lesson that deals with hunger. So you can get to exactly what you need when you need it. The other nice thing about the Guild is, you can come here and you can see our meeting schedule here in our community. So I want you to see, this is what the meeting feed looks like. So you'll see here the new members meeting. So all of you new members, you'll be able to come in and join that meeting and come be a part of it. We do challenges as a community sometimes, and then if you're wanting to book coaching, you can do that here. And then we have a feed here. We also have a private Facebook group that people are able to come get access to. And then there's a feature I don't really have the means of showing you, which is probably the most important feature, which is Marco Polo. Marco Polo is one of those truly game-changing ones. Can you do me a favor, hit main, please? It's a game-changing feature that allows you to connect with OSPs in real time on your phone. We were using the Sharecast feature that you were able to see earlier, and you can have access to that. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here tonight. Thank you so much for coming for these last 3 nights. Take something that you've learned from these last 3 nights and apply it into your life right away. Many of you felt the power of doing that self-love exercise. Maybe do it again. Maybe go find other self-love activities you can do. Make a playlist for yourself. Make a playlist of love songs to yourself. Spend time with yourself, getting to know who you are, how you want to live your life. Maybe that'll help. We talked about those triggering moments. Start being present in your mind with your own thoughts, being on the lookout for those triggering thoughts, looking for your unconscious automatic reactions and responses and go, whoa, wait a minute. I always do this here. Let me try to get myself to do this instead. Let me, instead of biting my nails, let me just clip them. Let me just try to do the new thing and just see what happens. If it doesn't work, I can always go back to biting my nails. Let me just, instead of turning to that food, let me just go on that 15-minute walk. If that doesn't work, I can have the food. And I'm willing to bet when you go on that 15-minute walk, you'll be surprised at how often you don't go get the food. Just try new things. And if you're looking for the community, if you're looking to get help there, come join the Guild. I'd love to have you. I'd love to see you there tomorrow for our 1:30 Central Time, or 12:30, whatever time it says in the calendar. My brain just turned me up 2 times simultaneously. Tomorrow's Q&A session and help you and get you started. And to everybody in the Guild, if you have been on the fence about calorie tracking and if you're thinking, I don't know, is this the time to level up and do a sprint? Now's the time before the holidays get here. Let's get some weight loss under our belt before the holidays show up and make everything really complicated. We'll start meeting on Mondays. Hope to see you all there. Have a great night, everybody. It was so good to see you. We'll see you at our next live event, probably at the first part of next year. And until then, see you in the Guild or see you on the live streams.